Welcome to Crypto Stories, where we explore the stories behind the headlines in the cryptocurrency world. This is a place for those who want to go beyond the surface and get the full scoop on what's really happening in this mysterious and often shadowy world. Today, we will be discussing the MTGOX hack, one of the most well-known failures in the blockchain industry. MTGOX was a Bitcoin exchange founded in 2010 by Jed McCaleb. At its peak, it handled 70% of all Bitcoin transactions worldwide and was a critical part of the Bitcoin ecosystem. However, in February 2014, the exchange filed for bankruptcy protection in Tokyo, revealing that 850,000 Bitcoins, worth over $450 million at the time, had been stolen. The company also filed for bankruptcy protection in the U.S., citing liabilities of around $65 million and assets of around $3.84 billion. In the aftermath of the hack, MTGOX CEO Mark Karpelès was arrested and charged with embezzlement. He was accused of using company funds for personal expenses, including lavish vacations and buying a luxury apartment. New evidence released in April 2015 by Tokyo security company Wiz SEC suggested that the missing Bitcoins had been stolen from the MTGOX hot wallet over time, beginning in late 2011. In March 2018, the trustee overseeing the MTGOX bankruptcy said that enough Bitcoin had been sold to cover the claims of creditors. On March 14, 2019, Mark Karpelès was found guilty of falsifying data to inflate MTGOX's holdings by $33.5 million, for which he was sentenced to 30 months in prison, suspended for 4 years. The court acquitted Karpelès on a number of other charges, including embezzlement and aggravated breach of trust, based on its belief that Karpelès had acted without ill intent. Now, let's dive into some of the details surrounding the MTGOX hack and its aftermath. On February 28, 2014, MTGOX filed for a form of bankruptcy protection in Tokyo called Minji Seize, which allows courts to seek a buyer for the company. At the time, MTGOX reported liabilities of around $65 million and assets of around $3.84 billion. The company stated that it had lost almost 750,000 of its customers' Bitcoins and around 100,000 of its own Bitcoins, totaling around 7% of all Bitcoins, worth around $473 million at the time of the filing. MTGOX released a statement saying that it believed there was a high possibility that the Bitcoins had been stolen and began a search for the missing Bitcoins. CEO Mark Karpelès blamed hackers and cited technical issues as opening the way for fraudulent withdrawals. MTGOX also faced lawsuits from its customers. On March 9, 2014, the company filed for bankruptcy protection in the U.S. to halt legal action by traders who alleged that the Bitcoin exchange operation was a fraud. On March 20, 2014, MTGOX announced on its website that it had found 199,999.99 Bitcoins, worth around $116 million, in an old digital wallet used prior to June 2011. This brought the total number of Bitcoins the company lost down to 650,000 from 850,000. In April 2015, Tokyo security company Wiz SEC presented evidence suggesting that most or all of the missing Bitcoins were stolen straight out of the MTGOX hot wallet over time, beginning in late 2011. On April 14, MTGOX lawyers announced that Karpelès would not appear for a deposition in a Dallas court or heed a subpoena by FinCEN. On April 16, MTGOX gave up its plan to rebuild under bankruptcy protection and asked the Tokyo court to allow it to be liquidated. In January 2015, Kraken CEO Jesse Powell was appointed by the bankruptcy trustee to assist in processing claims by the 127,000 creditors of MTGOX. CEO Karpelès was arrested in August 2015 by Japanese police and charged with fraud and embezzlement as well as manipulating the MTGOX computer system to increase the balance in an account. This charge was not related to the missing 650,000 Bitcoins. Japanese prosecutors accused Karpelès of misappropriating $2.6 million in Bitcoin deposited into trading accounts by investors at MTGOX and moving it into an account he controlled approximately 6 months before MTGOX failed in early 2014. By May 2016, creditors of Mt. Gox had claimed that they lost $2.4 trillion when the company went bankrupt, which they requested be paid to them. The Japanese trustee overseeing the bankruptcy stated that only $91 million in assets had been tracked down to distribute to claimants, despite Mt. Gox having claimed that it had more than $500 million in assets in the weeks leading up to its bankruptcy. The trustee's interim legal and accounting costs through that date, which will ultimately be paid by creditors, were $5.5 million. In March 2018, the trustee Kobayashi announced that enough Bitcoin had been sold to cover the claims of creditors. On March 14, 2019, the Tokyo District Court found Karpelès guilty of falsifying data to inflate Mt. Gox's holdings by $33.5 million, for which he was sentenced to 30 months in prison, suspended for 4 years. Karpelès will not serve any time unless he commits additional offenses over the next 4 years. The court acquitted Karpelès on a number of other charges, including embezzlement and aggravated breach of trust, based on its belief that he had acted without ill intent. However, the verdict stated that Karpelès had inflicted massive harm to the trust of his users and that there was no excuse for him to abuse his status and authority to perform clever criminal acts. The Mt. Gox hack and subsequent bankruptcy was a major blow to the reputation of the cryptocurrency industry and raised serious concerns about the security and transparency of cryptocurrency exchanges. The incident served as a wake-up call for the industry to prioritize security and transparency. Despite the efforts of the bankruptcy trustee to recoup funds for creditors, many people lost a significant amount of money in the Mt. Gox hack, and the outcome for affected customers remains uncertain to this day. The case against Mark Karpelès and the investigation into the hack continue to unfold, with new developments and revelations constantly emerging. The Mt. Gox hack remains one of the most infamous failures in the history of the blockchain industry. Thank you for listening to this episode of Crypto Stories, a series on the podcast Crypto Compliance. We hope you have gained a deeper understanding of the Mt. Gox hack and its impact on the cryptocurrency industry. The Mt. Gox case serves as a cautionary tale for the importance of security and transparency in the world of cryptocurrency. Stay tuned for more episodes of Crypto Stories, where we will delve into the fascinating and often tumultuous history of the blockchain industry.